Time for the Warlock against the Lich King. And this one, nothing fancy, just Murlocs. And this is something I've been meaning to say in the other videos before this. The great weakness of even a fight like this is, for most of them, you can just rush him down with the best aggro you can find, and usually the best aggro you can find are Murlocs. You get the best draw, and if you get lucky and that he doesn't get too many taunts out and he doesn't do too much of an issue, you've got this. If you can see, we had a bunch of duplicates, so we're down to about half HP, but it doesn't really matter. We're not going to take that much damage. We have a good starting hand. You want the Tide Collar first, of course, and then any sort of Murlocs that summon a buddy. Getting good Murlocs. And that's pretty much all you need. This is one of the cheapest and most efficient way of beating him, is to go crazy on Murlocs. It will, of course, require a decent hand. If you start with all the wrong ones, then you're not going to beat him, but that's the case with all of this. You just flat out need lots of good Murlocs. And you need to make sure you get them in the right order. Tide Collar gets more damage for each Murloc. You want buff stuff, you want all kinds of things like that. And in the end, he just can't keep up. Sarnath Chain Gang is your worst enemy at this point, because it means you can't go face. You have to throw away your dudes against him. But I got a pretty good card there with the Corrupted Seer. Sadly, I can't play it just yet. But I did have that one. So perfect timing. I managed to spend health to summon the Seer. Which means I can, for 6 cost of health, I got him. I'm down to 2 health now. So it feels pretty dangerous. But you can see how it is. You can see how you're always balancing on the edge here. This is one of the few times where the Valkyr Shadow Guard is not a problem. Perfect card. We need the War Leader. Gonna be a nice chunk of damage on my board. You do the math here. 8, 11, 15. I realize it's not quite 38. So, we'll get rid of that one, because that's the only risk to actually murder us next round. And then we hope for the best. One more round like that and we have it. I almost just out of habit clicked the thing, which would have killed me. Get rid of that Murloc, not a huge deal. And as long as he doesn't have a taunt, we're good. He doesn't have a taunt, or at least he didn't decide to play it. So, with an additional power overwhelming, he's ours. Impossible. Exactly lethal. Not exactly the most exciting fight against the Lich King, which is kind of the only downfall of the system, that he's set up to be a very interesting fight, but in the end, if you rush with Murlocs, you've got a pretty good shot. Lich King. Now this makes a lot more sense, considering it was originally Gul'dan's master Azul that was the first Lich King. The dark portal yawned open once more, and worlds uncounted trembled before him. Blood Reaver Gul'dan. Again, really cool art. Rune number 6. Uther versus the Lich King! In probably the most thematic and proper fight,
I will fight with honor.
We're gonna ruin it again by going Murlocs.
Legendary. Your rank.
I tried a bunch of really cool decks for Paladin, but in the end, I figured this isn't working, this is really tough, I need a really perfect draw, and then it's like, I'm gonna try Murlocs, and this is literally the first attempt with a Murloc deck. There was a really cool plan I had in mind of, because every time a unit dies, he gets it, I spawned Major Domo, which made him turn into Ragnaros, and then I killed him as Ragnaros because he only got 8 health, and no more armor. lots of cool idea, but it's really tricky. You gotta get it all perfect. You want to maybe get in Barnes, you get a 1/1 Major Domo. It was difficult. It was very difficult. So in the end, I said, screw it. Let's try Murlocs. And I mean, so far, we're getting pretty much the best possible draw. Already, the sheer amount of damage we can throw out. I could even afford to throw one of my Murlocs against that one just so we didn't lose one of them. Because they're just so strong right now. Got another chum coming, and there's Consecration, just in case we need it. Which we really don't. We have even plenty of... We don't even need to throw ourselves at the minion. Let him decide who wants to die. I might as well throw out a thing, but in the end I was like, do I need it? I don't. It's worth just in case. Again, Chain Gang's usually your worst enemy when you have Murlocs. And then he stole my Murlocs, that's what he does. But we have enough to deal with it. And Consecration is just perfect at this point. And I realized that it was actually pretty good to go with a Silverhand Recruit, because I can trade one easily. Sure, he'll get one Silverhand Recruit, but it's not that big a deal. I would have loved to throw out one of the other ones here, but in the end I think I go for the Chums. They're 5 damage, but the other one buffs all of them by 1. It's a difficult decision like this, you know you have to get rid of one of them. But in the end I have to spend a 5, because the other one... Oh, actually, no. Silly Rythian. I could go with that one, because that one survives. For HP, again... Throw out the Sludge Belcher all you want. I have enough to get you down. I lose the attack bonus, but it's not enough. At this point on, it's just... Blessing him out is just icing on the cake, honestly. Rest in peace, that guy. But, as you can see, this is in the bag at this point. Murloc, victory. Sadly, not as cool. I mean, it feels kind of fun in a way. Just burn him down with silly Murlocs. But it doesn't feel very Paladin-y. As it was with Arthas, so it is with Uther. Uther of the Ebon Blade. This is interesting. Those who lived a worthy life would have nothing to fear, but in death the wicked would face his judgment. So he is like a nice Lich King, I guess? Also, Ebon Blade are supposed to work against the Lich King. Who knows? Number 7, we have the 2 toughest ones left.
Look at your hand, champion. Look at what you've become. Are we really so different, you and I?
I like to think he's talking about my Murloc decks. I've sunk so low, throwing Murlocs at him. For some reason this is taking forever to load, but it is what it is. Luckily, the Warrior deck is not all Murlocs. In fact, it's a really fun deck. This is something I recommend to everyone because it's super fun.
Victory or death! You think I'll have mercy on the likes of you?
However, it does require a really good draw. And we managed to get the perfect draw on the first try because we need enough right here. In your first 5 cards,
Warrior,
you need 2.
make a marvelous death knight once I have broken you.
First, him getting 100 armor is frankly bullshit. That's a level of cheating we haven't seen yet. That's why this is tough. There we go. The golden hero that will save us all, the Alarm Bot. We need to get out the Gastropod at level 1 because it will automatically kill everything he puts against us. And that's important because we do not want our Alarm Bot to die.
No card can forestall my inevitable triumph.
You might realize what's going on with this deck by now. Gastropod is poisonous, thank you. That's Snail and Throne of Thunder.
is inevitable, and no emote can express your shame.
If you've gotten this far, the rest of the fight should be fairly straightforward. The Alarma bot is routinely going to bust out the greatest cards, and of course, we get the best possible option. We get Kel'Thuzad out, which means even if any of our things do die, they'll come back to full health. It is brokenly good, and it is beautiful.
Spirits, I will guide you.
Armorbot and the Giant. That's an 8-8. Pretty solid. You just want your 2 gastropods, your 2 Alarmbots, and then fill the deck with as many big, beefy dudes as possible. Oh no, the gastropod died, you might think. Well, we have Kel'Thuzad, so back it comes. You don't... And then we get Y'Shaarj on top of that, to summon even more crazy things. This is probably the luckiest I've been in one of these. The fact that it happens on the first try with this deck. I tried a few other warrior decks before, like I tried a badass Cthulhu version and so on, but I went for this one and it's really fun and it's really good. And yeah, you need the 2 cards in your first 5 hands, or first 5 cards, which is a decent ratio. But now it's just... You just have so many strong cards. It's similar to the Druid one, where he might be dangerous and have a lot of stuff coming, but you have so many strong cards that he just cannot compete. Even if you didn't get Y'Shaarj or Kel'Thuzad, the Alarma bot would continuously throw in new cards, new cards, new cards, new cards. Yes, he may end up eventually using Obliterate or something similar on the Alarma bot, but hopefully by then you have enough crazy cards to be able to just stand out until the end. At this point on, you have enough mana that you can start just flat out summoning everything. This phase isn't even dangerous anymore. We're getting taunts out to deal with everything. And Chromagus is doubling every card we draw as well. Just in case we needed anything more, we get like double Force Tank Maxes. It's brutal at this point. There's no real strategy involved anymore, it's just attack as much as we can. And with Kel'Thuzad, it's like we're cheating, because we get them all back. We get them all back. That does, however, also mean that our board is incredibly full. We don't actually get to use any of our cool stuff we have down there.
Face now your tragic end.
Blizzard is annoying. Definitely is annoying. But he's just throwing away all his dudes, and even when frozen, Kel'Thuzad keeps resurrecting. Dormant Champion is always useful when you have this many cards. Obviously, it's really nice. And this is just as many as we can fit in. At this point on, I'm starting to wish that we didn't have Kel'Thuzad, so that we can get loose some of our not-so-good cards. But then I look at the cards on the board and go, they're all pretty good. But we have a bunch of really cool ones down there. I'm particularly looking for the Grotesque Dragonhawk with that Wind Fury. That's pretty sweet. And the Tar Lord, which is a really good taunter. I was thinking so much about Wind Fury, I thought that one had it. It does not. Chromagus can go, and then everyone else. There is still a lot of health to burn down, and he still keeps doing a Relentless Winter. Remorseless Winter. Every round. So you might want to keep track of making sure you armor up and everything. Another way to try this as a warrior is to go very heavy on armor, or to go Patron Warrior works. A lot of things works. Where it can be really difficult because of the sheer amount of damage you need to do. Kel'Thuzad finally dies, thanks to the Black Knight. And sadly I burn an Alarma bot, but at this point on that doesn't really matter that much. In fact, looking at the options I have, I can just throw out more Stormwind dudes and start attacking even harder. Even harder. Even harder. Go, 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 go. Burn him down. And now, his health pool is starting to look positively possible. He's going to need insane amounts of blizzards and just stalling to get this going. And of course he doesn't have that. He's out of everything. The Alarm Bud even survives! It's a beauty. It's a beauty. The Tar Lord is something I quite like. Getting more health on their turn. Like a very defensive thing, but it's cool. Dragonhawk starts as a 5/5. I don't even get to use it. It's done. This was really fun. This was my favorite. Probably my favorite one. It's just really cool to get lots of cool minions coming in.
Before me, there must always be a Lich King.
Scourge Lord Garrosh. Very cool art, a very fitting style. I could see him being a terrifying Lich King. Till he was master of all he surveyed. So, that is rune number 8 out of 9. So there's one left. The hardest one.